So here at Blueprint, let's give you 3 of the best Town Hall 15 attack strategies you might want to try out and use. Welcome back to Blueprint, my name's Corrupt. So for our first army, we have the Super Bowler Smash. This works really well against a wide variety of bases, but I specifically prefer it against ring-style bases, since you can use the Warden Walk on one side, the Siege Barrack or a Flame Flinger on the other, and then send the Super Bowlers right through the middle. So basically, what you'll want to do first is you will want to set up that said funnel by using the Warden Walk, and especially if you're going into something like 4 point defenses, use a rage spell. You'll thank me later. You can also use the invisibility, but I think it is better to try to get through the entire area rather than just trying to turn your warden invisible. You won't be able to take those down in time. Otherwise, if you unfortunately do lure out the clan castle, you can still always use a poison and freeze to prevent that slow and also additional damage on your warden. But you'll want to set the other side of the funnel up, since you've already kind of made sure to set one side with the warden. That is going to let you send in your super bowlers. I would also recommend sending in ice golems, which are going to provide a nice freeze, and the Electro Titan. This is really good at counteracting Lava Hound clan castles, but also really good at countering other swarm units. As you move in though, you want to use a rage spell early on, one as you get closer into the core, and you should also use a Grand Warden ability, especially as you're finding other different traps and also losing a lot of your troops. So you want to make sure that you are providing as much value as possible by making sure that you are using that Grand Warden ability early. Otherwise, just be very mindful of the rage spell towers. They can do an insane amount of damage, especially when they're by the town hall and other key defenses like Infernos. So be very mindful of those things. Otherwise, you should also have your back-end Royal Champion, which can be used at clearing out multiple other structures, and it can really help you get a lot of really nice value, even if, unfortunately, your Royal Champion does die out in a certain spot. You'll still be able to clean up the rest of the base. You might still have a large amount of troops remaining, which is why the Siege Barrack can oftentimes be a very good decision. But you might also sometimes want to hold onto a specific troop, such as the Super Wall Breakers, to get a little bit deeper into the base. This is what I mean. It's a very strong army that can work on a wide variety, and of course, it can still be used quite consistently. Now for army number 2, we have the Super Archer Blimp Lalo. This is still the best Super Archer Blimp strategy that you're ever going to use. Just be very mindful of poison spell towers, and you'll mainly want to try and go in for the town hall. So you might want to use a couple groups of balloons or rocket balloons to start this off. You'll also want to use a battle blimp in order to get as deep into the base as possible. You also might want to go ahead and use the invisibility spell first with a rage. Use another invisibility. Remember to time these every 4 seconds, and clone ahead of your pack of super archers in the CC, so you can get more defenses down than just a couple things. But you still want to stay out of range of the poison spell tower. So you'll want to make sure that you're not just removing all these other structures, but making sure to actively time that invisibility spell so the poison spell tower doesn't go off if you're close enough to it. Otherwise, you'll just want to make sure that you are then going in for an enemy hero. This can either be the enemy Archer Queen or the enemy Royal Champion, or even both. Sometimes you might already get one, and that way you can really focus in on getting value and also working down towards the next enemy hero, which could be the Royal Champion. You always want to make sure that what you're doing is setting something up so you're able to continue to move through the base. Any value such as scatter shots, the spell towers, or even stuff like multi-target Infernos and air defenses are fantastic to remove. You can also send in the Royal Champion, as she can get some more additional value and it gets really nice. Of course, be very mindful that if you don't have Diggy, this could be a interesting situation. So you don't always need the max hero, you don't need the new hero pets, but of course, you still want to make sure that you're able to move yourself through. Of course, you can then go ahead and move into your Lalo phase, which remember, this Lalo phase does not have any spells. So you want to make sure that you use a Lava Hound with a couple groups of balloons. A Grand Warden ability is really nice as you move into the core and use the Headhunters, so you can remove the last enemy hero. Just be very mindful of Rage Spell Towers or really any sort of defenses that have the Rage Tower within, because that thing is brutal. So you'll want to make sure that you're very much aware of that, especially with a back end Lalo. So be very mindful of those Poison Tower and Rage Spell Tower combos on different bases. But as long as you have cleanup, you should be completely fine for a 3-star. And of course, last but not least, we have the Zap Titans. This is a very strong army, and it really doesn't matter with the Spell Tower combo or really how the base is designed. It can be used on any base. In some cases, what you'll want to make sure that you're doing is first starting with the Grand Warden and the Flame Flinger. Make sure that the Warden Walk is tanking the Mortar while using the Zap Quake to go in for something like an Expo and an Inferno, but mainly you just want to use it to get some sort of funneling done while also trying to help protect your Flame Flinger. Otherwise, you just want to make sure that what you're doing is letting your Flame Flinger get to the Town Hall. It's a very important structure to remove, and therefore you want to prioritize it. Otherwise, you're going to let everything do their own thing. They're pretty much just going to help you create the other side of the funnel, or one side of the funnel, which is very helpful. Now, on the opposite side, you'll want to make sure that you're using something like a Baby Dragon to set up a little bit of a funnel, so you can drop in your King and 2 Witches. This is basically going to set up the funnel to go into a certain area. Alongside the Witches, it provides some necessary additional distraction and, of course, damage, which is very minor but is very good. Then you can send in your Electro Titans into the base, making sure that you're timing one Wall Breaker to enter in, and then use another one to get a little bit deeper into the base so you can save the jump for later on. You'll just want to make sure that what you're doing is using a Rage spell as you move in deeper into the base, and you could use another Rage spell within the core. This is where you should also use the Grand Warden ability to protect as many of the Titans as possible. As they move through, they might go ahead and deal with the Town Hall, which is completely fine, but this is where you also have the Royal Champion coming. Right behind the Barbarian King allows him to provide a lot of tanking, and it makes sure that even if a lot of the Titans start to thin out thanks to the Town Hall, you're still able to get that down with the use of the Flame Flinger, but you also have the Royal Champion moving through with Diggy to get a lot of really nice value, and of course, you're able to finish off the rest of the base with enough cleanup, which is exactly why this strategy is so strong and very powerful. As long as what you're doing is holding onto that RC to be able to assess things, and if you need to send it in for the Town Hall, you can. It's why this strategy, it works so well, and it has a lot of flexibility with different siege machines, different base designs, and it's all in all a great strategy that you can pretty much use everywhere. Now, of course, that is it for this series, but of course, there's a lot of videos left, so make sure you guys subscribe to Blueprint for different attack strategy content from other creators here, but also, of course, the bases that you are here for.